What happens when Marvel's most important debut collides with DC's biggest reboot? Two blockbusters, one summer, and $1 billion question: who comes out on top?
Hey, buddy, eyes up here.
With box office projections, casting buzz, and even crossover fandom dynamics in the mix, we're unraveling this summer's ultimate cinematic showdown. This is more than DC vs. Marvel, this is the future of superheroes. When it comes to box office potential, the numbers tell an interesting story. Box Office Theory projects Superman's opening weekend in the US to land between $154 million and $175 million. That would make it one of the biggest debuts of 2025, and if Gunn's Reboot hits the high end, it could even top Batman v Superman's $163 million opening. For DC, this is more than just a strong number. It's about rebuilding trust with an audience that's seen a lot of ups and downs from the brand. The stakes are high, and the studio knows it. On the Marvel side, Fantastic Four already making noise before it even hits theaters. Fandango reports it set the biggest single-day pre-sale for any 2025 film, which signals serious early demand. That's not something Marvel is likely to let anyone forget, especially after years of fans waiting to see the first family done right in the MCU. Even though we don't have an official opening weekend projection yet, this early momentum is hard to ignore. But box office projections and pre-sale records are just the start. A lot can shift between now and release day. Marketing, online buzz, and the crowded summer movie schedule all play a role. Superman's strategy is clear: go big on visibility and reach. The Fortnite collaboration pulled in millions of engagements and directly targets younger audiences, making sure the film is on their radar. Add to that Superman's status as one of the most recognizable characters in pop culture, and the brand appeal is obvious. This movie isn't just for die-hard comic fans, it's designed to bring in families, nostalgia seekers, and people who might not have seen a superhero movie in years. Fantastic Four faces a different challenge. The team is iconic, but their place in the MCU is brand new. Most moviegoers know the name, but not everyone feels connected to the characters. Marvel is betting on star power to close that gap. Pedro Pascal, who's already got a huge following from The Mandalorian and The Last of Us, is playing Reed Richards. That casting choice alone sparked a wave of attention online, turning early skepticism into genuine curiosity.
As much as I love Pedro Pascal, this is 100% Marvel picking the man of the hour rather than the right man for the job. We've talked about other casting choices for Reed Richards. What was wrong with John Krasinski, who did a really good job with the dog script that he was given in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness? That was a great casting choice that was wasted on a subpar movie. How about literally anybody but Pedro Pascal? Because Pedro Pascal is not giving Reed Richards.
Marvel's approach is clear: make this debut feel like a big event and use the cast to get people talking. Release timing is another factor that could shape the outcome. Superman opens July 11th with Fantastic Four following on July 25th. That 2-week gap is just enough to avoid a direct clash, giving both films a shot at building their own momentum. James Gunn has said the buffer helps both movies, and it might. Each film gets a chance to dominate the conversation for its opening week. But the risk is still there. If one film completely overshadows the other, it could leave the second release fighting for attention during a packed summer. Marketing choices might be the deciding factor. Superman's campaign is built on broad appeal, from cross-promotions like Fortnite to messaging that taps into both nostalgia and fresh excitement. The goal is to make Superman feel accessible, whether you're a longtime fan or a newcomer. Fantastic Four, meanwhile, is leaning into the significance of their MCU debut and the high-profile cast. Marvel knows Phase 6 needs a big win after some recent missteps, and they're positioning this movie as the comeback moment. If the film delivers, it could reset the tone for the entire franchise. Of course, none of this matters if audiences don't show up after opening weekend. A huge debut can fade fast if the movie doesn't meet expectations. Word of mouth is unpredictable. Sometimes a viral moment or a strong review can give a movie legs, while negative buzz can tank box office potential in days. Gunn's Superman must rebuild DC's reputation, while Marvel's first family needs to prove its worth to skeptical audiences. James Gunn has made it clear that this isn't just another Superman movie, it's meant to be the foundation for everything DC does moving forward.
What are you excited by that you've been able to really dive into that we've never seen before in your Superman?
I don't think we've ever seen the big science fiction Silver Age Superman aspects that we have in our movie.
Fans expect a Superman who feels true to his classic roots, but they also want something fresh and relevant. Gunn says he wants to honor Superman's core values, focusing on optimism and hope. If he delivers, this movie becomes the anchor for a new era of DC films. If not, DC risks falling back into the same confusion and inconsistency that's defined its last decade of movies. On the Marvel side, Fantastic Four enters the scene with a different kind of pressure. For comic fans, the Fantastic Four are the literal starting point of the Marvel Universe, but that legacy hasn't translated to film. The team's previous movie outings have been forgettable at best. Now, Marvel is betting big that the MCU's take will finally get it right. But early reactions reported by Jeff Snyder have already described Fantastic Four first steps as mid and meh. Not exactly the kind of buzz Marvel wants. That lukewarm response could make it harder for the film to win over mainstream audiences, especially since the Fantastic Four still need to prove they deserve a spot alongside the Avengers or Guardians. The stakes for both studios are clearer than ever. Both need a $1 billion global haul to break even, reflecting 200 to 300 million budgets plus marketing. No small feat. This isn't just about making a profit. These movies are meant to launch or reset entire cinematic universes, and the financial bar is set high because the future of each franchise depends on it. If either film falls short, the impact goes way beyond the opening weekend. It could shift the direction of superhero movies for years. For DC, Superman is supposed to be the foundation of James Gunn's new DCU. This isn't just another entry, it's the start of a long-term plan. DC has already announced a slate of follow-ups, but if Superman doesn't perform, the whole roadmap comes into question. Audiences have seen DC stumble before, with Justice League's box office flop, and the confusion around who's playing what character. Gunn is promising a more focused, hopeful approach, but he can't afford a misstep right out of the gate. Marvel's challenge is different, but just as intense. Fantastic Four First Steps is the kickoff for Phase 6 and the lead-in to the multiverse saga's big finish. Marvel's last few phases have been hit or miss. Phase 4 had movies like Eternals, which made its money back but left fans cold, and Phase 5 hasn't done much to restore the old momentum. The Fantastic Four are supposed to be the answer, a way to spark new excitement and get audiences invested again before Avengers, Doomsday, and Secret Wars. If this film ends up just another fine but forgettable installment, it could drain enthusiasm for everything that comes after. Both Marvel and DC are aware that even one flop can break the trust they're trying to rebuild. The thinking is simple. If Superman does well, it proves there's still an appetite for superhero stories, making it easier for Marvel to get people excited for Fantastic Four, and vice versa. The pressure isn't just about money or bragging rights, it's about keeping the superhero genre relevant. Both studios are trying to turn these movies into cultural moments, not just another installment. They want people theorizing, debating, and planning to see what's next. Anything less, and the risk of burnout gets even bigger. If both Superman and Fantastic Four fail, studios might have to rethink their entire strategy for superhero films. That could mean fewer big-budget projects, more focus on other genres, or even a pause in universe building. It's not an outcome either Marvel or DC wants, but it's on the table if this summer goes badly. On the other hand, if even one film is a breakout hit, it could keep the genre alive for a few more years and give both studios the breathing room they need. Marketing could decide this race before opening day. Both studios know that getting attention in a packed summer is almost as tough as making the movie itself. Superman's Fortnite crossover taps millions of users and plants the character back into youth culture. It's a straightforward way to reach families and younger audiences who might not care about a DC reboot otherwise. The idea is simple. If you can get kids invested in Superman through a game they already play, you have a shot at bringing in a new generation. This isn't nostalgia for nostalgia's sake. It's about making Superman feel relevant again. The campaign also leans on the character's history. Superman is everywhere. Posters, trailers, social media, and even merchandise that plays up his Mount Rushmore level status in pop culture. The messaging is clear. This is a fresh start, but it's still the Superman you remember. Meanwhile, Pedro Pascal's casting and a record-breaking Fandango launch give Fantastic Four a built-in roar of attention. Marvel's marketing is using that momentum. The early pre-sale record isn't just a number, it's a headline that shows people are ready for something new from Marvel. The campaign focuses on the cast with Pascal front and center, but also highlights the film's role in the MCU. Fantastic Four is positioned as the start of Phase 6, a direct lead-in to the next Avengers movies. Every trailer and poster is a reminder that this isn't just another superhero film, it's a big piece of the multiverse saga. For fans who care about the bigger picture, that's a hook Marvel can keep using. But both movies have to reach beyond the obvious fans. Superman's marketing is all about broad appeal. The Fortnite move is just one part of a push to make the character accessible, not just for comic book diehards, but for anyone who recognizes the symbol. The campaign is everywhere, and it's not subtle. The goal is to remind people that Superman is a cultural icon worth paying attention to again. It's also about trust. DC wants audiences to believe this reboot will be different from the last decade of missteps. The marketing leans into optimism, hope, and the idea of a clean slate. Fantastic Four faces a different challenge. The team's last few movies either flopped or faded into obscurity. Marvel knows it can't just sell nostalgia. Instead, the marketing is about newness. This is the first time the Fantastic Four are part of the MCU, and the campaign is selling it as a must-see event. It's not just about the cast, though that helps. It's about the promise that this movie matters for what comes next. If you want to keep up with the MCU, you have to see this film. That's a big part of why the pre-sale numbers are strong. The campaign is also careful to connect the movie to upcoming crossovers and tease how the Fantastic Four will fit into the larger universe. Early reactions are already shaping the campaigns. Superman's test screenings have been divisive, with some calling it a bold new start and others not buying in. That split can actually help, since strong opinions get people talking. On the other hand, Fantastic Four's early buzz has been described as mid and meh. That's not a disaster, but it means Marvel has to work harder to convince people the movie is worth their time. The marketing teams know they can't control every headline, but they can steer the conversation. For Superman, the campaign leans into the idea of a new era and a return to the character's roots. For Fantastic Four, it's about the cast and the MCU connection, hoping curiosity and FOMO will overcome any doubts. Studios also have tricks to shape the opening weekend narrative. Insiders say studios sometimes bulk buy tickets to guarantee a #1 opening, an $8 million marketing gamble on a $20 million outlay. That tactic lets them run ads saying the #1 movie in the country, even if the real audience response is still up in the air. It's a calculated risk, but it can pay off by creating a sense of momentum that pulls in more viewers. Word of mouth is the wild card. Marketing can fill theaters on opening night, but it can't make people like the movie. If fans come out raving, the campaign gets a second wind, and the movie can keep its spot at the top. If the buzz turns negative, all the flashy marketing in the world won't keep people coming back. Both studios are betting that their films will deliver, but they know the real work starts once the audience has seen the movie. Superman and Fantastic Four are both using every tool they have to win this battle. This isn't just about which movie wins the box office. Gunn calls the gap a huge buffer, but this showdown could redefine how studios plan blockbusters. The results will show if audiences want reboots or if it's time for something new, and both studios are watching closely. Your ticket is more than a seat, it's a vote for what comes next in superhero movies. Drop a comment. Whose success are you betting on and why? Subscribe for our first box office update when weekend numbers drop. Your ticket choice shapes the next era of hero stories, so pick wisely and see you at the movies.